Welcome, friends, to the Kenosis Journey. Wherever you are, we want to welcome you. Thank you for taking the time to spend a few minutes with me as I share my own journey. Several of my friends have asked me why I got into this life formation journey, a formation journey in the sense something that has actually transformed my way of being and the way I'm seeing today. About 6 years ago, I had this amazing experience, and I wanted to share that with you as you may be considering for your own life this way to transform your life, your leadership, and even your spiritual, condition of your heart. So allow me to share my screen with you as you probably take some notes if you would like for your own reflection. Um, so I want to ask myself this question. Um, why did I join this journey? And ask you the question, why are you watching this? Why are you here? Not in a bad way, but just to reflect, why am I drawn to this um, video? And as I am sharing with you, first of all, I want to say that I want to share my personal experience. There's some personal reasons why I got into this life formation journey. As a child growing up in India, I had two wonderful parents who gave me everything that I needed. They worked very hard, uh, m- you know, doing 9 to 5 job and then coming to take care of us in many different ways. However, um, my sister and I came to empty home even as a young child. The first thing that was put into me, the first major emotion that I sensed as a little child was fear. I don't know where the fear came from, partly probably through my mother's strict way of bringing, uh, you know, God is watching. If you do anything mischievous, God is going to punish you. And so there was a fear that was put on at a very young age that began to balloon after a while. Uh, the second emotion that I constantly felt was not being able to live up to the expectations of my parents brought a lot of shame, and I didn't know how to deal with the shame. And so uh, uh, the, I probably found some way to mask the shame. The third, out of that came this anger, the deep anger as not being able to live into the expectations of my parents or others, my teachers, and not being able to get into the medical school. All those years of formation was filled with anger and hatred towards different situations and even different people probably at the time. There's three kinds of emotional response. One, fear led to anxiety. I was in constant state of anxiety and I didn't know. Of course, my family has a history of anxiety. So probably I had that in DNA, but it was even more pronounced when I was growing up, anxious about many things. And because of the shame, I started pretending. And some of the ways is by trying to perform, trying to seek attention, and many things. And then, of course, a lot of blaming that happened as a young child. It's always the problem was outside, it's never with me. I always found a reason to blame others or blame situations, blame circumstances, not being able to take responsibility. And I took that from childhood into adulthood. Then it becomes, then it became a problem. So how to cope with my condition? By seeking attention. Even as a young child, I remember being very mischievous and disruptive in the classroom that led me to gain attention from my friends as well as the teacher, of course. And then performing, trying to outdo things, outplay, and that brought a lot of stress, trying to always perform. Uh, uh, it's like play acting. And then worrying was the way I coped with it. When I'm not worrying, I'm out there enjoying and partying, trying to still deal with my inner condition of sadness, sorrow, and trying to be joyful. I noticed that it was just not me, it was everyone experiencing the same madness. Uh, I hope you're not offended by saying this, when I say this, that we are all in the same madness together. We are in the same boat. There is fear, there is shame, there is anger. There is a lot of anxiety in people today. A lot of young people are experiencing anxiety, and a lot of it is self focused. There is a lot of shame that is being masked with dressing and cosmetics, and a lot of pretending is happening even in churches. There's a lot of anger, frustration. You drive on the streets, you can see the road rage, the frustration. There's blaming happening on social media, there's violence everywhere. And so we want to take a moment and reflect and ask this question: why do I want to change? Why do I want to take a different road? Because life is supposed to be a celebration and joy. I'm not experiencing that. Take a moment to reflect on why you want to change. The second thing that I want to place before you, it was not just my personal experience, but also the cultural realities. Culture is shaped by human beings like us, and culture always views from a particular point of view. So, as we look at our culture today, we notice at least there are five major things. One, we are a progressive culture, meaning more and more of goods and services, faster and faster is the pace of life. We can't stop this. We can't stop progress. It's going to be more and more things produced. GDP will become more and more for nations. Faster and faster, technology will drive things more with speed. Secondly, we are a highly globalized culture. We are a globalized culture, which simply means we are highly interconnected. There's nothing that happens in this world where we cannot feel the aftershock, because we are connected by the World Wide Web, internet. The third thing about our culture is we are becoming more and more privatized. We are becoming more and more individualistic as technology becomes more and more personally driven and preferentially driven. We are getting gadgets, electronic gadgets that are making us more and more individualistic based on our preferences. That is what Google is doing to us. That is what many of the search engines are doing to us, Bing and other uh, technologies. What does it do when we are in a time and an era where screen age is dominant? We are creating robots, machines that look like us, made in the man image, now going to take control over a lot of areas of our life. What happens to us? We become less and less human as we interact with machines. The younger generation don't even know how to fully engage and um, have conversations that are from the heart. So we are being dehumanized, mechanistic, mechanical culture. And lastly, the religious culture, which is supposed to bring us all together as human beings, has divided us and polarized us into small ghettos, tribes, where we fight each other violently. So, this journey is to learn to slow down the pace of life, to learn to walk with God, to wait with God, walk with God, and work with God, to let go of the many things that we find ourselves attached to. This selfish ambition that we want to get ahead of others. The cost of that is mistrust. We don't trust people anymore because we want to get ahead. And it causes a lot of wounds and hurts and relationships are. So we want to learn to practice trust with one another. We want to gain a new, renewed vision for life, not to always live a life of dualistic nature of, you know, dismissing people, dismissing, um, uh, labeling, judging, but more on a contemplative way of life, to see everything as it is, good and evil together, joy and pain together, suffering and joy together, to become more human, to practice compassion and empathy so that we can be present with people and listen to each other. And that makes us more human when we are able to share in the sorrow and suffering of people. To embrace the whole self, not to put ourselves down and not to, really torture ourselves, but really to begin to love ourselves, to take care of ourselves so that we can also take care of others in our care, in our leadership. There is also a spiritual crisis. So it's not just personal and cultural. There is also a spiritual crisis that really is calling me to invite people into this journey. First, people are enslaved to religious ideologies and dogmas. Their idea of God is so small, and therefore we are trying to contain God in our head. It's impossible. We fall into the prison, into a pit when we do that. And then we become completely uh, violent with all the other ideologies and people of other perspectives. Christian discipleship has become educational, head oriented, and not heart formation. This is a lot of research has been done that our form of discipleship today is merely a lot of education, Christian education, but really not the formation of the heart to become more human. And finally, third thing, there is a crisis not only of discipleship, there is also a crisis of disengagement. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people leaving the church, maybe not losing their faith, but they're leaving the church. They are unable to see, they are unable to hear the voice of God, they're unable to see God's presence and experience God for themselves. A lot of programs, a lot of churches happening, but there is not happening an internal connection. And so this journey is learning to connect with God and to connect with others in a deeper way so that we can come alive from our deadness. We can become more loving and not be enslaved by fear, to be free, free to love God and to love others without judging or becoming judgmental. So, freedom will give us the capacity to move from sorrow to joy. And I really hope that you will take this opportunity to participate in this 6 to 7 month journey with us. Thank you for joining us. So, thank you, everyone. Appreciate. Please join us.